Welcome to Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio. Tonight, the guys are off, but tonight my special co-host is the host of the DNVR Rockies podcast, as well as one half of the Final Fantasy Weekly podcast, Drew Kreisman. And Crashing Game Night along with him for the second time, and I don't know why, is Barret Wallace voice actor John Bentley. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. I know why.
You're doing great.
Because we love Crashing Game Night, baby.
And, we love you. And it's great having Drew on, which reason I brought Drew on for this podcast is because we wanted to do a special holiday episode with John. And
because
I need a co-host. And Drew is half of Final Fantasy Podcast. So I thought of none other than Drew to come on, be a co-host, especially with John, and the fact that they just did a Barret profile on their podcast.
That's pretty awesome.
Look, the timing is perfect, and I just want the record to show that the voice of Barret Wallace just said, "Drew's the man," out loud. I need that as my ringtone. Go back to 1997 and tell that kid one day Barret Wallace is going to say, "You're the man." He said, "Woo!"
That's awesome, man.
So how's everyone doing? I know, John, you've been real busy lately with a lot of stuff. Yeah. How you enjoying this day off?
It's kind of not a day off. I literally just finished wrapping live from a studio, where we just did on Sony lot. We just did a remake of a remount of Good Times, and I was understudying 2 characters, 96 pages, and I had to memorize 94 of them. And so, it's different.
It's nerve-wracking, isn't it?
But I just got off the road, and I'm at a hotel now because my son has a huge tournament in Pismo Beach. So, I just wanted to make sure we got this in before the holidays really got down. And this is considered to me right now, especially because the fanboy in me, this is considered my holiday vacation. I am officially on vacation, hanging with my fellas.
Mm-hmm. And Drew, I know you've been busy because you just had the winter meetings for baseball.
Whew.
You've got your podcast that you guys have been spinning up with DNVR. I mean, how have you been? It's a hard time for us Rockies fans right now.
Yeah, they're not actually out here, making headline news or anything. So I'm doing all right. They keeping it easy for me in the off season. No, I have a dream job that I get to cover baseball for a living, a sport I grew up a massive fan of, that I got to talk to people like Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon every day for a living is obviously just this gift. And then, it's funny because through doing that and doing the podcast for work every day, I learned, this is what I'm good at, talking about stuff I love. And about once a month, my brother would call me and we'd be talking politics or current events or whatever. And about 5 minutes of that. And then we talk about Final Fantasy for a good 30 minutes. And we thought, why don't we just record this? I do podcasting anyway. We love these games. We grew up with them. They have helped shape who we are as people. And we wanted to do something to celebrate it. So we're not game journalists. We're not objective whatevers. We love Final Fantasy, and we want to talk about what the philosophy means, what the politics mean, what the characters teach us about ourselves and our lives. And it's been an absolute joy. We just crossed 50 episodes, just got into our Final Fantasy VII talk in the last couple of weeks, and it's been a blast, man.
Which, speaking of shaping everything, this week was the 32nd birthday for Final Fantasy 1.
32, baby.
32.
Yeah. And I'm 33, so I feel like, again, man, I've just been there from almost the very beginning. We've grown up together.
Yep.
Literally.
I didn't even get into Final Fantasy until what would have been 3 on the Super Nintendo, which was officially 6. I tried Mystic, what is it? Mystic Quest or whatever it was, and I could never get into it. I'm like, no, this ain't. But 3, and when you're showing up, you've got the mechs, you've got, Wedge and Biggs and all of them showing up. It was just, I loved it, and I was already a huge fan of Square because my all-time favorite game, even with my love of Horizon, Uncharted, and everything, my all-time favorite game is still and always will be Chrono Trigger.
Sure. Good game.
So my love for Square was already there.
Good game.
And then they dropped the bomb on us that was FF7 with the PlayStation, and that was the history of it for me. It was like here on out, which, the other thing that happened this week was it was the 10th anniversary of FF13.
Yes, it was.
Which is my favorite.
It was yesterday. That was yesterday, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. And that is your favorite.
It is my favorite out of all.
That's the one with Zaz, right?
That's the one with Zaz and Lightning and Fang, Vanille.
Fang
Snow.
and Lightning. Love them.
Yeah. For me, I love the battle mechanics on it. Now, granted, I get the beef that it was linear, for a little while until you get to Grand Pulse, but I loved what they were trying to do with it. I love the story. I love the mechanics. The sound, the score to it was amazing. Now, granted, I still think the score to FF8 is better. Wow. 8 to me is one of the best ones they've made.
What are you thinking about that?
Right there.
Nobuo Uematsu's like LeBron James. You're out here comparing individual seasons. I'm like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You take your pick, man. He didn't make any bad ones.
And I was just at a con, and I heard the music that people have done, some of the scores, and then some of the side songs for 7. Oh my God! Like KupoCon, they have discs. The music to pretty much all the Final Fantasy, but some of them are modernized. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, they should be in movies. They are real scores, man. It's unbelievable work that people are putting out there.
Oh yeah. The reunion tracks that they're doing for all the past games. I mean, the 7 reunion tracks is amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Uematsu stuff in concert twice, the Colorado Symphony Orchestra.
You saw them live?
Mm-hmm. The Symphony Orchestra out here, 15 years apart. I saw Final Fantasy music live. It's world changing.
Oh my gosh, that's outstanding. Was it an outdoor amphitheater?
No, nothing that good. Just a symphony hall out here in Colorado.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Hopefully I'll get blessed like that too. Those things are awesome. I find out more and more about the world of Final Fantasy. It's bigger than I thought.
So John, it wouldn't surprise me if for the next Final Fantasy game announcement that they have the concert. Because 2 years ago when they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 at E3, they had a Kingdom Hearts concert right before. This year, Final Fantasy VII gets announced at E3. They had a concert 2 nights before.
I didn't go to that.
No, but you did come hang out with us at E3.
Yes, I did. That's when we met.
That's how we met. Yeah, Drew. It's funny thing is, I'm in there for the demo. Here's John sitting like 4 people away from me. He was incognito. I could tell you now.
I wasn't incognito. I just had on my hat.
You had but you were just chilling there. You weren't bringing the attention to yourself. You were just there, and the guys hosting the demo called him out. Straight up said, "Hey, we have Barret right with us."
Right there.
I didn't know that was happening.
And then we just started talking during the demo and stuff, and that's history, man.
So I want to tell a story and ask a question of John at the same time, though, because you brought that up. That trailer dropped that day. I've never cried at a video game commercial before.
Which one?
The trailer that dropped at E3.
The original.
And I was overwhelmed. And I just want to know what kind of response you've gotten from fans, if anyone has come up to you as I might have if I had just seen the trailer, in tears or shaking? What has been sort of the most dramatic fan response you've gotten since you've come into this world? Because we're crazy people, Final Fantasy fans.
That's true.
We're nutso.
Well, so Matt knows I'm a fanboy myself, and was an only child and quite the nerd, and was very reclusive as a kid. Even though I played sports and everything, I was still that one kid who came back home and played my Atari. So the fan stuff, I was explaining this to Matt, it's overwhelmingly beautiful, actually. There are haters, but no one has approached me. Whether that's because of my actual size or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe the color of my skin. I don't know.
Oh, he really Barret.
At one point,
really is Barret,
was
yeah.
like, Barret isn't black, Barret is white. So we're gonna have a white guy imitating Barret. And like one person met me and was like, wait a minute, you sound like, no, you didn't do it. I was in GameStop. And someone was like, and I was asking about the figures because I didn't know where to get them. And this kid was in there and he's like, hey man, what are you asking about Final Fantasy for? I was like, I was just trying to find this figurines. And they're like, say something again. And I'm like, I was trying to find the figurines. He's like, now say it slow. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you're Barret. I'm like, yeah, I am. And he's like, how come you didn't say anything? I'm like, because I'm not that dude. I don't go around, you know.
He just goes, now say the planet's dying, Cloud. But
like, man. And he was excited. I was excited because he was excited. You know, so that was probably the funnest interaction. There have been a lot of interactions that are fun, but I think the interactions that I get that are great are the ones when they go, oh my gosh, you're just like us. You're not, trying to be conceited or cocky, or you don't put it out there and you're dancing and hanging out with us at the cons. And, that's me though, man. I don't ever want to be that dude that you get too Hollywood. I'm humble, man. This is a blessing, dude.
So speaking of the con, how was it? Because I know you were talking about it was like that first experience of going to KupoCon, man. How was it in your eyes? Because
so, man. She said, hey, you should KupoCon. I'm like, what's that? She's like, it's a con for just Final Fantasy people. I'm like, oh, well, I'm down with that. Okay, so I just sent in my little, hey, my name is John. I'm going to be doing Barret. I'd love to know more about your con. And Alex Main, who's in charge of it, wrote back immediately. He's like, what? And so I'm like, yeah, I heard about your con. And so I said, will you call me? Because Matt knows, I'm like Twitter and challenged. So
Yes.
I type stuff, I'm like, man, I wrote that? You know what I mean? It's all this misspellings. Right. My mom would kick my tail. She knew I was doing it. She's a teacher. So, we talked and he was like, yeah, I think you'd like it. Let's try Vancouver for the first one. It's smaller, see if you like it. I'm like, I know I'm going to like it. I get to hang out with people like me. And so I was like, all right, cool. I got to go with my wife, Michelle, and Michelle's just kind of girl. She's not a gamer, but she's like, I'll go just to check it out, make sure everything's great. Go with my wife. So we get there, man, and I'm looking around trying to figure it out. Alex is one of the greatest dudes. His right-hand man, his name is Alan Kenny. I got to meet Alex's wife. I got to meet all these workers, these volunteer workers for KupoCon. They're incredible people. And it's like they don't care. This is about Final Fantasy. It's not about all the other work. It's not about other. Now you can talk about other games and stuff like. It's about Final Fantasy, and I'm to where we are now. And I was enthralled. Just like, okay, wait a minute. I don't know anything about 8. I need you to tell me more about. And they would, and like they didn't say, you don't know. You're supposed to know. They're like, this is what happens, and this is what happens. They gave me synopsises. Man, I can't even express. I know I sound all excited. He told me I shouldn't. I can't help it. KupoCon is one of the best conventions. When I'm talking about from me playing sports all my life, This is one of the best conventions that I've ever been on in my life. And I know I haven't been on any other ones yet, but the people made this thing so special for me that I cried when I went back to the room after we had a break. My wife's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Because people are just great and I get to talk to them." And some folks just needed just a hug. You know what I mean? That just it blew me out of the water. One girl, Celeste, I got to talk to her, and we've been keeping in contact. And man, she's telling me, okay, my health was bad when I was there, and now I'm like, please let me know what's going on. Man, she doesn't have. She got her medication now. She doesn't have to worry about it. She doesn't have to have this major surgery. That kind of stuff pumps me up. It's like, how can you not go? How can you be a voice character or a person of I don't like saying celebrity because that's I don't get that box, you know. But how can you say you don't like going to cons when you get to
John? I hate to say it, you're in that box now.
yeah, I won't ever look at myself that way. But how can you say, like, for the people who say, "Oh, I don't like going to cons," or "I don't like doing this," how can you're going to make folks happy and you get to be happy in return? How can you turn that down, man? As much as our world right now needs that, bro. So, needless to say, I'm sorry. I'll sum it up now. KupoCon was a blast. I can't wait to go back. I'm going to Glasgow, Scotland, at the end of February. And this time I'll be able to take that trip with my second son, Noah Bentley, who does tons of music. He's all over the internet too. Because Michelle has to stay at home because my youngest son has basketball tournaments.
Who is the one that was, which one was he with you? Was it your eldest or the middle one at E3?
That was Noah. You got to meet Noah.
Yep.
And Noah does voice work too.
Yep.
Noah and I, what did we just do together? So we had to do looping for a film that Mike Epps and someone else was in. Noah did two or three voices. I did 2 or 3 voices. I remember when he was a kid, one week he worked more than me. He was doing Young Blade, like when he was a kid. I'm like, what the hell? This boy, he got more than me.
So not to make John blush anymore over, fandom and everything, I got to ask, Drew, with Barret, what made you guys do the profile for Barret on the podcast?
So for me, and I'll try to transition this into a question too, because I have so much I want to know. Barret is such an endlessly compelling character, and I'll put it right out there too, as 2 mid-30s white guys who do the podcast. Final Fantasy wasn't exactly full of diversity. Neither were video games in the early to mid 90s.
That's true. That really is true.
Mm-hmm.
And you think I'm a 11, 12-year-old kid playing this game. It might have been the first major video game character I had seen who was black. And in addition to that, he's all these other things. He's a freedom fighter. He's angry at the man, but he's also a father who takes care of this young girl. And he has all of these people he has to look after. And he's angry, but he's sensitive. And he's so there's so many dimensions to the character. And so I did want to ask John, how do you approach, did you think at all about the history of this was an important character culturally, but there were also some things about the way he was written originally that maybe weren't.
Bro, you can say it. You can say it. Feel free to say it. So this is a conversation I've been quite a bit. Number one, I was a fan of Final Fantasy when it came out. I had just gotten married, and I didn't know what RPGs were. I knew from Wild Arms and different things like that. But when I played Final Fantasy, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a black dude in this, and he doesn't die. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I freaked out when I watched Friday the 13th when the brother was in it, and he was like, let's kick the MF's butt all over Dreamland. And he didn't die. Don't get me, when he came back, the next one, he died.
Yeah, he didn't.
But at least he made movies.
Yeah.
You got to understand, that's a big deal in our culture. So you got an RPG where the dude is not only just in it throughout, he's the leader. He's gruff. He's got all these different dimensions to him. He adopted a little baby girl who is not of his culture from a friend who was killed right in front of him as he was trying to save him. He's trying to save the planet. He's planet conscious. Look at where we are right now with being conscious green. There's so many different dimensions. So for me, I'm going to be honest with you, Drew. The biggest thing is that I wanted to not have him be this big black brute that I knew everyone would perceive him as, like Mr. T was the voice that people got from looking at him, from a consensus that I cannot. So it probably sounds like that because, of course, it was side-scrolling. And I'm like, well, okay, I get that, and I think that is a valid voice for him. But let's give him dimensions in his voice. Let's give him tones. Let's give him the story that is actually written. You don't have to come up with a backstory. It's right there. It's written. They wrote the hell out of these characters. So for me, I was very conscious about not making him this big black brute that so many, because you got to remember, this is a universal thing. And I didn't want people in other countries. Oh, did we lose Drew?
I'll get him back. Keep on going.
I didn't want people in other countries to look at him as this caricature of what they think black people are like in the United States. And that was something that I was very conscious of. So I wanted to judge this man who is a man who has thoughts, has a thought process, has a child, cares about his people, cares about his cause. I wanted to bring all that together because it just didn't make sense to play him as this big black brute, which is how a lot of people just visually see him and so many folks in the United States of America. So that was very conscious of it, and I was worried that now you got to understand there's a duality in it. You have to be careful not to be so over the top that your own culture goes, come on, man, and you have to also be careful that any other culture goes, yeah, that's how they are. And so that was in the back of my mind the whole time I was doing it. Every session I had, I wanted to make sure that he was articulate but still gruff, a leader. There's a lot of comedy with Barret, and I didn't want it to be some Amos and Andy show. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff went into doing Barret, man.
And that's a perfect segue to one of our listener questions, actually.
Okay.
So one of our listener from Facebook, Johnny Dreyer, his one question was going to be, is the Barret Cloud date scene from the original game going to be in the game? Which we know you may not know of, or if you do, you can't say anything for NDA purposes.
You just said the magic 3 letters.
Yep, NDA. However, his actual serious question was going to be, what gets you in the mindset to play Barret from before recording? Is it, warming up, reading something, watching a movie, etc.? What got you into the mindset?
Who asked the question again?
Johnny.
What up, Johnny? So for me, bro, it depends on what we're covering that day, honestly. So it may be just efforts of running, lifting or jumping, or it may be a full day of, okay, we're in this particular scene in Sector 5, or we're over here and we have to do this. Notice those NDA words.
Yeah.
Hey, you dropped Sector 5, man. Even that alone, I was like, "Ooh, he said it."
Right. It depends on the day. For me, I got to know what we're doing in the day. For me to fall into the voice, it's real easy. So the preparation for it all depended on what we were recording that day.
Nice. Very, very nice. So you and I both know Nanaki on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He actually had a couple of questions for you that were actually, some of them were non-Final Fantasy related. Oh yeah, he had a few which
the same Nanaki.
Yeah, he had a few. If we wanted to be here all night, I could go over the list, but
Oh
we only
no,
have, about an hour.
Drew got more than Nanaki, I bet you.
Oh yeah. I mean, Nanaki sent me over about 15.
Ooh, how many you got, Drew?
I wouldn't run out.
All right, here,
No.
let's do this. This is a challenge, especially for me because I talk too much. Let's do Drew, Nanaki. Oh, let's go Nanaki first, and then do, and I'll answer them as fast as I can. How's that?
All right, let me.
Nobody expected that.
I will bring up his full list. Give me a second here, because
Start with
I pulled a couple.
Drew, you
now
better
some
get
of
your
the
list.
Yep, some of the questions he asked we covered on our first podcast together.
Okay.
So, and he's already gone back and re-listened and gotten his answers to a lot of that stuff. So,
okay.
I'm going to start this off with the first one is, what is your favorite video game of all time?
Ooh. I'm an Uncharted fan, man. But I also really dig what's Red Dead. Both of them,
If Jerry were only here to hear you say those words, because he's our Red Dead
guy.
Redemption junkie. I am the Uncharted guy.
Yeah, I got all of them.
This is the nice imported statue from Europe that sits on my desk.
Man, I remember, I'll never forget going up an elevator and getting off on the floor where we're about to record some stuff, and Nolan is in the waiting to get on the elevator. I just, he's like, hey man, I'm like,
Mr. North.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse us, Drew. So yeah, those are my favorite. But what I just worked on,
which we'll find out soon enough when you're allowed to tell us, when NDA actually expires.
Come March.
Yeah. Yep.
Can't handle it.
That will probably definitely.
And we're going to give it about a week's worth for you to play it, which was one of the questions he was going to ask if you're going to play it. We're gonna play the game for a week, and then we're gonna have our reunion episode, so we can actually talk about the game.
I wish I could fly out somewhere and play it with somebody. We can videotape that joint. But no, that when it comes out, I can guarantee that'll probably be my favorite video game. Just knowing what I know.
True.
Go ahead. On you, D.
Oh, it's killing me. I can't even handle it yet. No, I'm sure you've answered this question 100 times before, but I wanted to hear a little bit about your voice acting inspirations. I've only recently, there's a great Netflix documentary about voice actors. I think John DiMaggio plays a big role in that. So I just wanted to ask about some of your voice acting inspirations, some of the people you've gotten to know in the business you really like working with.
So we just had this Good Times show that we just did. We remounted Good Times. It's called we just remounted. I'm not going to get into it all, but I got to meet some of my favorites. John Amos, who is legendary. Good Times. He played Kunta Kinte and Roots. Denzel Washington. I got to meet him and I damn near lost my mind. You thought I was a girl. One of the hardest voice matches to get from me. His voice is so hard to get. He and Will Smith are probably the toughest for me. But then I went to talk to a guy last night, and I've been working with him for the last 6 days, Jay Farrow, 200 plus voice. And I said, Jay, can you please, I have an audition for this character. Can you give me this? He gave it to me and then some. He just knocked them off. Now, I got a lot of them, but studying Jay was just like, oh my gosh. Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson is the ultimate actor to me. He has proven time and time again it's about longevity, and that's been my whole motto. I just got to meet Jesse Eisenberg. Incredible guy. Just absolutely incredible. So look up to him. He's a bad dude, man. There's so many that I just look up to that are really, really good. Jimmy Kimmel, business mind, quick-witted, but just good. So many different cultures. I'm just trying to think. because
love you
I'm
brought
that
up
old
Jay
school actor
Farrow, man.
too.
I'm a big SNL guy, and
Oh,
Farrow,
oh,
voice-wise, is a chameleon,
oh,
dude.
Mm-hmm.
so good, so good. I mean, and does their mannerisms and everything. So I got a list of them that I look up to. Viola Davis, unbelievable
Oh,
actress.
mm,
I did Resident Evil a while ago. So Mila Jovovich. Oh,
mm,
not only is she unbelievable with her process and acting, but she was doing all of the stunt rehearsals in the evening after we filmed, and she treated everybody from the camera directors to the assistant directors to the actors along with her. This woman went and took boxes and boxes of cold water to all the actors that were on the outskirt of that fence for Rainbow that had on these masks that were playing zombies. I learned so much about her, of what it's like to be humble and love your trade, but love the people who help you make it. So all of that, man. The business as a whole, there are a lot of good folks, and a lot of unsung things are out there that people don't talk about. So many stories of Patti LaBelle. It's
mm.
like, to anyone, she is so embraced. You feel like she's a mom or an aunt. You just like, Patti LaBelle is hugging me. It's like, what? Wait, I feel like my mom. Should I be sucking my thumb? You literally feel, and it's not that you're in awe of who they are. It's how they are, and the things that they say, and they're uplifting and they're encouraging. So those are the people that I want to be like. Aside from just the talent.
All right. So next question from Nanaki
Okay.
is, if you could be a voice actor or actor for a fictional character or real character, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
Dream roll.
Dream roll.
Dream roll for
Right.
Very much.
Your dream role, voice actor or live, right? What's
Yeah.
the dream job?
I would love to, if I had the ability to be, and I'm past the age now. Sam Cooke, the singer, Sam Cooke.
Ooh.
That would be an incredible role to do and to step into. He and Marvin Gaye are kind of synonymous in one. They both they dealt with, they had a conflicted soul. They both came up in the church. They both were unbelievable singers, but they also had that other side that, pulled them into singing secular. And that was, I think that's a great duality to have. I would love to do that. I don't look like them, but I'll be, even if I was part of the project, that would be a beautiful thing to see. So Sam Cooke and that. Trying to think fictional characters. I'm a comic book fan. There's a lot of Luke Cage has already been done. I thought that was a great character. I wouldn't want to be Luke Cage, but I'll be honest with you. I know Sam Jackson does the voice, but I think the character Frozone in The Incredibles is a great character to me. Bro,
Yeah.
you get to shoot ice out your hands? That's pretty awesome. But I think they would have to develop it a lot more for me to want to do it, because I think they cut Sam a short stick, because that's a great character.
It is. All right, Drew.
All right, so I want to get us back into the current project, the current world, because I'm just so curious, and I want to know if was anything in your process of finding Barret that was difficult, or that you felt like maybe needed to be a bit more yours than the original. Remaking that's a difficult thing to do, and if there was anything you thought, hey, I'm taking a chance here. Some of the fans, and obviously I get you, like the NDAs, if you can't tell me exactly what, but just in general through your process, if you felt like, I'm taking a risk here, I'm taking a chance, I hope the fans appreciate it. Because
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The culture. I wanted to make sure that it was brought up to speed to the culture. I did not want to humiliate my culture, my race, and I did not want to bring on a caricature that people would say it's okay to be that way. You know what I mean? Or some of the words. But like I said, it's written beautifully. Back in the day, some of those words that were up there, they were rough, man. and
Yep.
television and entertainment was in a different place back then. We are now in a different area. So I was very cautious of saying words that weren't full words, just because of the vernacular. I wanted to make sure that consonants were being pronounced, and now don't get me wrong, Barrett's not going to be some scholar. You know what I mean? I think it wouldn't justify the character if he wasn't gruff. You know what I mean? But he's got to have an N in it when he talks. He can't just talk. You know what I mean? Barrett's got.
Love it.
Oh. Well, he's got to fight the man, though, right? Like, I mean, for real, like, he is a freedom fighter.
And fighting the man, he doesn't have to fight the man like we did back in the day where we tried to scare the hell out of the man. Barrett's size alone. Barret doesn't have to walk into the room and let you know he's in the room. You know what I'm saying?
I think
the strongest people are the people who know who they are. They know their size. They know their space. They know their power. I think Barret is like that dad who looks at you and like, okay, I'm sorry, and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say John just gave all our listeners a little bit of a holiday Christmas present by just doing Barret right there on the podcast. That was great.
I kept it together. Barret like
Merry Christmas, everybody, except for you Shinra followers.
So
that's right.
We'll do the last question from Nanaki, and then we'll do one more for Drew.
Yeah.
How? It's a kind of a two-part question. So, how has voicing Barret impacted or changed your life? And how do you think life will change after the release of Final Fantasy VII for you?
Oh,
that's a good question, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, he
put on the gloves.
Dude, no joke. It's like 50 questions, dude.
Gosh. Okay, so first question was how has it changed? The one con I've gone to blew me out of the water by how appreciated Barret is. And I guess, like my wife said, people looked beyond Barret and saw how you were, and they appreciated you. So that blew me out of the water. I mean, literally, I cried on my way back to the room after doing the first session, and then coming back down at the party, just blew me out of the water. So how it's going to impact me, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people are telling me, even you, Matt, how big this ride is going to be. I don't know. Dude, I can't answer that.
We all know this ride is going to be huge. I mean, even from a fandom and everything, because it's going to be 3 games, 3 episodes. I don't know how many discs are planning on doing this, but there's been rumor it's going to be 2 discs per episode. You know, this is huge.
Drew, you hear Mr. Square Enix over here talking? I don't know. I'm literally. I'm not saying that.
I know. You don't know.
No, everybody is telling me, John, this is about to be big. Oh, you don't even understand. You won't be able to talk to your friends on Twitter anymore because there'll be so many. And when it releases, I don't know. I'm ready to see what it's gonna be like. I am. But for me, I just get charged out of being able to have this blessing and to provide for my family, to meet so many people who are just sweethearts and just endearing. I don't know, man. I guess, I know I've been working out more so I can have enough energy and stamina to like make the trips and see people and give them energy and they're just hey, what's up? Meeting everybody with hugs. Big D.
All right, Drew, last question.
Getting that Barret vibe. I love it.
That's a big vibe.
That's a big. I was gonna ask something very similar, so I don't know. I did look, John. I'm not even gonna pretend like this is a question. Look, I played this game when I was 12 years old, and I played this series since I was 6, 7, and I just this was the biggest thing that ever happened to a lot of us. This game changed the world. Before Final Fantasy VII, video games were toys for little kids.
True.
And after Final Fantasy VII, they were art for adults. And Barret Wallace sits at the epicenter of that. He is vital to a group of us growing up and understanding that this is more than just a silly little thing for kids. Barret Wallace challenged us to grow up, and I just want to thank you for taking the reins of that and let you know that whenever it sinks in for you, the gravity of this and what you've done. I've only heard what I've heard in the trailers, and like I said, I heard that first trailer, I heard your voice and the others who were working with you, and I just fell into tears because you're doing justice to one of my favorite pieces of art, film, television, music, one of my favorite pieces of art. You all are doing justice to it, and this is going to be the greatest video game that was ever made again.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for you and all of the fans and even the non-fans, the non-believers. I can't wait for them to hear everybody else. Brett, Bree, Case, Eric.
I'm looking forward to, John, is like, I know your role and everything. The one I'm looking forward to is Tyler as Sephiroth.
Oh, bro. When you guys, first of all, I can't even say that. Dang.
No, I know, but I'm just like, for me, it's like
I want to, but I can't.
I see him on TV as Superman, right? And it's like he's got one persona, but he is playing one of the ultimate big bads in gaming history.
Yes.
Ultimately a misunderstood villain as well. And I want to see I know what your take is on Barret. I'm looking forward to see what his take is for Sephiroth.
I'm gonna do my best to get some of these guys and girls to come and talk to you, and hopefully, Drew, you can be on that one as well. Maybe we can all get in the same room and you can just make an hour-long session and do a double session. I'll try to get as many of the guys as I can.
And like Bree, right? She's playing a character that we all know dies. We and that's part of the story. To see what she's going to bring to that character and to bring life into Aerith, a character that is beloved by a lot of fans.
Having met the actors, and you guys having seen their work, you got to know this team. They're good. They're good, and I can't wait for the world to see what's about to happen. And the only reason I'm saying that in March this is going to be my favorite game is because technically it's not out right now. And you guys, well, I say technically because you've played the demo, but the demo is just literally, it's just literally, it's literally just I equate it to this. You know how you're hungry, you're really, really hungry, and you're just hungry. You want something, and someone say, "Hey man, all I have is some chips," and they toss you the bag, and you go, "It's open, man." I know I was eating, but this is all I have, and there's one chip in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, no, you didn't," but you eat that damn chip because that's all you got. That's what it's like right now.
Dude,
so,
John, I did the demo twice at E3. So I went back the next day and played it.
I know.
And I still can't wait for it. I just, I went into it that second day just seeing how much I could actually get out of it and play with the combat system and everything. And that's the thing with this game. It is, to Drew's point, FF7 meant a lot to a lot of people.
Me too. Drew, I hear you. And yes, it hasn't settled in yet because I'm that dude that just has to wait. Because if I get too pumped up, I'll get too. I mean, a lot of people have heard my excitement just through my writing and Twitter. I'm excited. It's just in me. Dude. So I can't get, I can't go there. But this is my thing. When you play the demo, and I know, Drew, you've seen a lot of the artwork. Guys, don't just look at what's in the front, like the forefront, the characters or what. Look at the backdrops. Look at the lighting. That's what I'm talking about, man. They call it concept art. Wait till you see the game, and the concept art is actually moving. You get to see is you're interacting with the concept art. Square Enix is the bomb, dude.
Can you tell us how much of it you've seen? Have you not what you've seen, but just how much of this first episode have they shown you? Can you tell us that?
I can just tell you that I had to play Barret.
he goes, it looks good, and I'm Barret, man.
He's Barret. Barret's in the game.
He's all over the game. He is the game.
I gotta ask you, John.
So we got a team, man. We got a team of talented voice actors and artists and writers, and it's just gonna be pretty doggone epic. That's how I look at it. It's epic.
So John, I gotta ask you. I know we talked on Twitter about it, and I got you hooked up with getting it on your PS4. How much of the original game have you gotten to play with how busy you've been? Because I know that was your goal, was to play FF7 before it came out.
Finish it. I've been working a lot. So, and thank God, especially during the holidays, but I've been working a lot. It's gotten to a point, like my wife just said, baby, you realize you haven't seen our oldest in 2 days. You haven't seen, 3 days. You haven't seen Noah. My oldest is Gentry. I hadn't seen him in 3 days. And then he came as my guest on the show the other night. And then I hadn't seen Noah in 2 days. I got to see him today before I took off to bring my youngest to this game. I hadn't seen number 3 in a day, because I would go, every time I would go to his room, he'd be asleep from me working and leaving early and coming home late. And then my son, Quincy, this is the first I've gotten to hang with him, and I've missed this whole week of games. So I've been busy. For me to sit down and play a video game right now is tough, as much as I want to. But I am officially on vacation. And after this tournament ends, Saturday night, I get to go home. I get to breathe, hang with some friends. Sunday morning, I'm done with Christmas shopping already, too. I get to play whatever I want. So
nice.
I'll be revisited Sunday morning.
I will be at Star Wars on Sunday morning.
You make me sick.
I am taking my daughter to go see it, and it's kind of something her and I have had this tradition that we've gone and see, Last Jedi, Force Awakens, Solo, and Rogue One. So each year we've gone to see that. So that's kind of like our thing. So I'm going to take her on Sunday morning. I pick her up on Saturday. It's going to be a great Christmas on that, especially, John, you and I have talked about what Christmas is going to mean to me this year. To have her here too for it is going to be great. So that's one of my things, since this is our holiday episode. So Drew, I'm going to start off with you, and then I want to end this, this part of it with John. But Drew, what are you most grateful for this holiday season?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I kind of like started with this stuff because I gave you my whole speech about how gifted I am to do baseball and Final Fantasy as my as my life, and I want to say, my family, we lost my dad before we should have, and my mom and my brother and I have really come together over this Final Fantasy podcast thing, honestly. So my brother Ira, when I was a kid, he was the voice of Barret Wallace and Cloud Stripe and Team Lockhart, and
that's awesome.
He was, that live action commercial they put out, and the little girl sitting in the room watching her older brother play the game. That was me. I was the little girl and the older brother playing. And so how close we've gotten to come over as a family back over these things. My father, who I mentioned, left us. We would drive around to baseball practice when I was a kid, and we would play the Final Fantasy music for him on CD in the car. Oof. And he never played the games, or he didn't care about video games, any of this stuff, but he loved the music.
Wow.
And as my brother and I have been doing this podcast and reliving the games and reliving the music, we've gotten to reconnect with our father and to reconnect with each other. And so I'm just I cannot believe that I'm having this conversation now here with you and John, because like I said, the only other voice of Barret Wallace in my mind, and the Advent Children cast. I don't want to actually. I love all that stuff as well, and I don't want to. I mean, no disrespect to anybody, but it was my brother, and now it's John, and that we've gotten to reconnect, and that we're getting to do this, and that the remake is coming out, and that as I'm moving into my mid-30s, I get to feel like a 13-year-old all over again.
Awesome.
I don't have to grow up, man. I get to go back and be in the car with mom and dad and my brother driving to baseball practice, listening to the soundtrack of Final Fantasy VII.
So, well then, Drew, I'm glad I could say Merry Christmas.
Thank you. This was my Christmas present. Matt, John, honestly, thank you.
Merry Christmas, asterisk, star, pound sign. The number 8.
I had never seen that before. My brother, when I was 12 years old, had to explain to me what a Grolix is, because Barret Wallace was the first time I'd ever seen somebody swear and have all those signs. Like, I learned how to swear from Barret Wallace.
So, John,
that's awesome.
I'm going to ask you the same question. What are you most grateful for?
I'm extremely grateful for my wife and my kids, because like you, Matt, we've talked about it before. I lost my dad 2 years ago. I lost my mom back in '96, so it was different. I was younger, but I lost my dad in 2017, and no one knows this. I'll share this with you. This week has been tough because I lost my uncle. And I'm not able to go back to Chicago for the funeral. And that happens on Saturday. Friday and Saturday, they're doing the services. And it just hits close to home because it's the holidays. And in that year, 2017, my wife lost her dad, too. So we lost both dads in 2017, to a point where I was so grieved that I almost quit everything. I was just done. I'm like, I'm going to move to Atlanta. If I want to do something, I can do it there. And, so it's been, so I'm very thankful for and grateful to God for my wife and my 4 boys. They keep me humble. They keep me in check, and they keep me doing what I do. So I'm very grateful. But I'll tell you what I've learned, like when we went to Vancouver. I'm grateful that I didn't quit because of the fans that I got to meet there. And I can't wait to meet the other fans that everyone's telling me that I'm going to see at these cons, because honestly, that keeps you going. That lets you know that you've been put here for a reason. And it kind of validates why you do what you do when you're in those days where you just want to be done. And so this has been not just a rebirth of me not wanting to quit, but it's also been a rejuvenation for my spirit and my soul. And I know it's a God-given thing. So I'm grateful for.
So I won't bare my soul. I'll move on. No.
For
me, I got to, and I will. So for me, John, you and I have talked about this, especially over the last couple of weeks, which I can't thank you enough for. But, for me too, is I lost my mom in July. And it was sudden. I mean, being out here in Virginia, my mom being right up there in Longmont, for those fans that, are listening that don't know Colorado all that well, it's just north of Boulder. Mm-hmm. So having to be scrambling, finding a flight, whatever I can to get back, mm-hmm. And this one's been hard. It's that first Thanksgiving, first Christmas, all of that without my mom. And I am extremely grateful for my wife, who has been my rock through the whole process. A lot of people just don't know how to react, right? When someone's grieving and stuff like that, they just don't know really how to react, right? They can just be there for you. They can let you cry, whatever. But more so is I'm also thankful for my son, because he has helped keep that joy of Christmas around and bring me back to life with when we're putting up the tree, and he's just giggling, and he's 2 and he finally is starting to understand the lights on the tree, the train that we have around the bottom of the tree, stuff like that. And he just has that joy, and he just keeps me smiling. And even on my down days, he's there he doesn't understand what grieving is. I mean, he's 2. He just understands life as he knows it. And it's just, it's amazing going through that, and just still. And then my daughter, who is close to my mom, we talk when we can. We try and talk every day, but just her and I being able to talk about it. Yeah. So for me, family, the friends I've gained, not only in life but even through this podcast. I mean, there's quite a few people that we've had on a guest that have become really great friends, present company included. And that's what I'm thankful for. It's not the gifts, it's not what I have sitting on my desk, collectibles, electronics, or anything. It's family. Plain and simple.
There's a reason for the season.
Absolutely.
I want to Drew, Alex Main does KupoCon, and he has introduced me to a world of Final Fantasy that I have never known exists. And he has music. Just what you told me about your dad, I'm going to figure out, I got to get your information. I'm going to try to send you this music so that you can see this new digitally remastered stuff that, I mean, it just blew me and my wife out of the water. I'm going to try to send you or talk to him and figure out how we can send you this music so you can continue the tradition.
That would, wow. I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Of course. But thank you for telling me. I'm going to write it down now so that I don't forget, and I'm going to reach out to Alex in the next 24 hours.
So with that, as we kind of start winding things down, because I know you got to get to dinner with your son and stuff like that, John. So John, we've already asked this question to you, and Drew, there's a reason I didn't put this on the rundown for you.
Oh no.
Because I'm going to throw you square under the spotlight here. It's a question we ask all of our guests, and it kind of goes to our podcast name. But what is your favorite game to play for game night with your family and friends and all of that?
Oh, this is a
welcome to the loaded question.
I didn't know it's going to be it. Oh, it's changed a couple of times. For the longest time, it was Smash Bros. I got to be straight with everyone. You want a party game for everyone to come out and have some fun. Like Final Fantasy is obviously my series or whatever, but game night, I'm a party game guy for game night. So the Nintendo guys kind of own my soul there. Back in the day, I used to throw actual Mario parties. Remember Mario Party?
Yeah, the
game was legit. So Mario Kart. Nothing will turn friends into enemies faster than a game of Mario Kart.
It is the game that ruins friendships.
Totally does.
But you know, with my girlfriend and I, we do the story-based gaming anymore. It's, we don't have time for the arcadey stuff as much, and we just did Final Fantasy 15. It's her first Final Fantasy game as a gamer, and we go through and do all the storyline stuff with that. So going through 15 all these years later and seeing this series still going strong, it was like, I can't believe this is what's happening. But yeah, those are my go-tos.
There you go.
I was a big Mortal Kombat guy there for a while too, by the way. I don't just play the little kid games.
Wait a minute, you said Mortal Kombat, Mortal
Kombat. Oh yeah, and DC. Anytime Mortal Kombat and DC get together, we can bust some heads. We can make some really ugly things happen.
On that.
Mm-hmm.
I had to surprise you with it, Drew.
I know.
Because that's what we do.
That was tough.
We got John on it too.
Yeah, they did.
So as we close it out. So Drew, why don't you tell our listeners how they can find you on social media and whatnot?
I also just realized I didn't mention MLB The Show, but that's because I play that game alone in a dark room and nobody else is allowed in. Right? I play that game competitively. There's nothing fun about me playing MLB The Show. All right, that's serious work. But I'm easiest to find on baseball stuff. I'm on Twitter at Drew Kreisman and at DNVR_Rockies. But the podcast, the Final Fantasy stuff, is at FF Weekly Pod. We're probably 2 episodes a month doing this point. It's a little bit slow going, but we try to dive really deep into the games. And so I think we did 14 episodes on Final Fantasy VI. I'll be surprised if we do less than 17 episodes on 7. There's just so much to dive into. Mm-hmm. It's so deep and interesting. And so... yeah, I'm out there and I try to make myself as available as possible. I respond to every single tweet that I'm not sure is an actual troll job.
And there's, and honestly, like, we talk on there as like, I just same as like with John getting some of those like fan, tweets, because they come out all the time now. There's more and more people tweeting at John every day that, just are coming out of the woodwork. But especially with the Rockies, right? It's some of that stuff, man. It's a troll job, especially when all the trade rumors were out there about Nolan and teams calling about him and everything. I mean, the true Rocky fans knew he's not going anywhere, He's
not going.
So, and then, so there was that troll job out there. So, John, why don't you let everybody know that, maybe listening to us for the first time, where they can find you at on social media?
I guess on Instagram, as I just learned this last night, I had to change my thing. I am a John Eric Bentley, all one word. You can find me on Instagram, and I think I have a big old Final Fantasy fan art there. I wish I could remember who did that one. It's one of my favorites. And then on Twitter, I'm trying to figure out what I am. Who am I on Twitter? I am John Bentley at John Eric Bentley, and it's the capital JEB. And I think Facebook, for those young people who still do that. I think I'm just John Bentley. I don't even know what am I on, John? I don't even know what I am on Facebook. If you just look up my name, you'll see stuff.
I don't even know what you are.
Yeah, I don't even know what I am. Yeah, so you can just hit me there.
Mm-hmm. So for our listeners, I want to let everybody know that we're going to be doing a little holiday giveaway for everybody. So I will post it out when I post the episode, the official rules. But what we're going to do is we're going to give out one of our shirts to a fan on Facebook.
Nice.
One of our shirts to a fan on Twitter. Of course, you got to be in the U.S. because that's where our, the manufacturer of our shirts and stuff is U.S. based. And then we're going to give a hoodie away to a fan from either side. And I will put out the official rule for that on what you have to do to get the hoodie.
Oh, Drew, they got hoodies.
So
I was gonna say, are we eligible for that, John?
John's already got a shirt on his way. John's got a shirt on his way already.
Ooh,
should be there tomorrow, actually.
Like
as
baby, we're moving on.
Yep. But no, it's our way of thanking everybody because of this year. I mean, Drew, you know what it's like growing a podcast, right? It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work for us. And, between SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, we've got fans out there, Google Play, and they've helped grow this. And honestly, when we started this whole thing, January 1st of this year, it was, if we got 10 people to listen to us, hey, that's 10 people that want to listen to us. But now it's people from all over the world that are listening to us, people from all over the world that are going to the website, reading the articles. And it's very humbling. I was telling my wife, it's like through all this that's gone on this year, last 6 months, it's like looking back at the podcast and I love the fact that we have listeners, but then also the fact that there's people like John and some of our other podcasts that want to come back on. They want to come join us. Drew, you were like, dude, I'm free. Rockies aren't doing anything. I'm free, and hopping on, to do these things. And I love it. So this is our way of kind of giving back to say, okay, we're just going to do a little thing, to a random fan, both places and stuff. So for you guys, absolutely, I want to say thank you coming on tonight, crashing game night. All our listeners, thank you for crashing game night with us tonight as well. As always, if you like what you heard, subscribe to us on the podcast platform of your choice. Leave those comments. They help us out in those rankings, especially on iTunes. And as always, I want to say be excellent to each other this holiday season and stay frosty.
Happy holidays.
Cheers.
Happy holidays, everybody. Good night.